Wonderful performance by Miss Gaurimal. I'm sure the Holy Goddess herself must have been this beautiful and this gracious. Thank you so much for such a
I'm told that about 25% of the land in the world today is mountains. And it provides, the water, it provides sustenance to the life of more than 50% of the people around the world. Even when we talk about the Himalayas, which is what we say a water tower of the world, and it feeds, I think it provides water to almost 1 billion people who are living downstream there in South Asia as a whole. So when we celebrate Mount Everest Day, we also think about the dangers of climate change these days. The glaciers are melting, we see the snow cover, which is also reducing around the world. So this is also a day not only to celebrate what we have achieved in terms of reaching the top of the world, but also to see how we can help promote the culture of the mountains around the world, but also save it for ourselves, for the future generation, and for all the people around the world. It is also very good to look at the mountains as well. It's not only that you climb it. So from our perspective, Mount Everest and the whole Himalayan range represent all these things. This is not only the highest point, but the cultural icon for many of us and the repository of biodiversity. People say that we have a tremendous amount of biodiversity because of the greeneries. So once again, I would like to welcome you here, all of you, and thank you for your wonderful presence. And this gives maybe a moment for all of us to think about mountains in their entirety, in a holistic manner, and but also to celebrate that we have reached the top of the Mount Everest. But then when you see the world, people say that when you see the world from the Mount Everest, it looks totally different. So thank you.
When I rented a car in Georgia, in Atlanta, and I told the person I'm going to Nepal, and the young man said, "Gosh, you're so lucky. I wish I was being sent to Florida." No one heard of it. I had read Annapurna by Maurice Herzog. I read the Hillary book of the 1953 expedition, and I read 7 Years in Tibet by Heinrich Harrer. So I knew a little bit about Nepal, which is more than anybody here in this country knew about Nepal. I landed there, and I was struck by the beauty of the country, which I'm still struck by. There were no bombs, no strikes. There was no communism. There was no crime. The water shortages were still in place, and often the lights went out, and we had to use our kerosene, but I didn't mind a bit. This was a great country. The people were wonderful. They were welcoming, and it was one of those most beautiful places I've gone to, and will go back time and time again. I met Ed Hillary when I first arrived there, and I was staying at the Hotel Royal, which is now part of the Yakin Yeti Hotel. And Ed was going on his Hillary scientific expedition of 1961. He gave me a pair of goggles, which he had used on his summit of 1953 Everest. And somebody who wants to see what a 1953 pair of mountain goggles looks like. Anyway, I want a quick story about Ed Hillary. We had dinner together in 19th anniversary in London of the summit climb, and we were at the opera at the Covent Garden in London. He was with Peter, his son, and his granddaughter, and a few other people. And so the six of us sat there on the second floor of the opera house. And it was after the first act, we had dinner, and then you would go back to the opera, and you go back for dessert. Ed was using a cane. His cane was a trekking pole with a sharp point, and he put it under the table. This is high up on the second floor, and there were other people eating down below. And he needed that trekking pole because his hip was not good, it was bad, He was limping. We went down for the second act, and he said, "I can't find my stick." And I looked under the table, and his trekking pole was gone. And there was about 6 inches of space just below the table, and so it must have gone overboard. I rushed down the stairs to find the pole, and I looked up and tried to figure out where we sat in relation to down below, and there was a man sitting at the table down below like this, and his handkerchief was totally bloody, and he didn't look up. And an usher was holding a trekking pole. And I went to the usher and I said, "Listen, can I have a trekking pole? The man needs it." "I'm sorry, sir, we must take names. There's been an accident." The man sitting at the table never looked up, and Ed then finally made his way down the stairs. He stood there horrified. I grabbed the pole out of the usher's hands. I said, "For God's sake, take names, but give the man his stick. He needs it to walk." And the man took names, this usher, and again the man at the table was not looking up, and the usher asked the name of the man. The man was still not looking up, bloody handkerchief, gave his name. He was about 62, 63 years of age, and he looked, and then he asked Ed Hillary, "What is your name, sir?" And Ed said, "My name is Edmund Hillary." And with that, the man at the table looked up, and he took the handkerchief away from his head, and there I saw a puncture in his forehead. And he got up and he shook the hand of Ed Hillary and said, "Oh my word, Sir Edmund, I am so happy to meet you. I saw you being knighted by Her Majesty. Oh my word, this is indeed a pleasure. Wait till my family hears about this." Forgotten was all the injury to the head. All the man could think about meeting Sir Edmund. And Ed and I went back to the opera, and Ed said, "If my name hadn't been Ed Hillary, I think I'd be facing the solicitor in the morning." Meaning that he was going to get sued. Anyway, that's my Ed Hillary story. I have been all over Nepal, as Sangya mentioned, and I guess the most remote area was on the border of Tibet. And I'm sorry, I don't call it China, I call it Tibet. And I always will. And that part of the world. And we went to the border of Tibet and in Inner Dolpo. Inner Dolpo to the border, which was a closed area until about 8 or 9 years ago. And we were the first ones in. And we went to Shade Monastery, Shade Gompa, and then another Gompa in the hills, which had never been visited. And we went to people who had never seen a Westerner in their whole lives. And they came to us thinking we were doctors. We tended to their various ailments with aspirin and whatever we had. Inner Dolpo was a wonderful experience. It was closed, as was Mustang, because the U.S. was supplying arms to the people of Mustang and Dolpo to fight the Chinese in Tibet. And then anyway, I could talk about Nepal all night, but I think that there are others who will rather hear. In the meantime, I will give the microphone back to Sangya.
यसरी न्यु इयर जस्तो व्यस्त सालमा यसरी भेला भएर एभरेस्ट डे भनेर मनाउन पाउँदा यो एउटा खुसीको कुरा हो र मलाई यहाँहरू समक्ष 2 शब्द यसरी बोल्न दिनु भएकोमा यहाँहरूलाई धन्यवाद र म हिमावलोकन गर्ने क्रममा मेरो लाइफमा घटेका घटेका कन्याहरूको बारेमा माउन्ट एभरेस्ट चढ्दाखेरिका रमाइलो भनौँ अथवा दुःख भनौँ त्यस बारेमा 2 शब्द यहाँहरू समक्ष यसरी मान्यता गराउन चाहन्छौँ र हामीले यसरी चाहिँ 1981 मा चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ अन्नपूर्ण हिमाल आरोहण गर्न गएका थिए त्यतिखेर चाहिँ नि अब हाम्रो साथीहरू भनौँ जस्तै अवश्यको भनौँ हाम्रो साथीहरू क्लाइम्बर साथीहरू थिए र चाहिँ म चाहिँ अलिकति पहिलेदेखि धेरै क्लाइम्ब अनुभव भएको हुनाले उहाँहरूलाई साधारण ट्रेनिङहरू दिएर अनि अन्नपूर्ण हिमाल आरोहण पनि गर्ने सफल भएको थियो र अहिले आएर यसरी नै आवश्यकले नै 21औं पटक चाहिँ सफल आरोहण गरेर सफल भएकोमा र हाम्रो देशको नाम उच्च गराउन सफल भएकोमा मलाई धेरै खुसी लागेको छ।